Hello guys, this is my fourth video on solar system series. I have previously recorded planets Neptune, Mercury and Saturn. If you haven't watched them, I have included the links below. In this video, I have decided to increase your curiosity on the biggest and most massive planet in our solar system, Jupiter. Third brightest object in the night sky. Only Moon and planet Venus are brighter. It is also one of the 5 planets visible to the naked eye from Earth. It is no secret that Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system, but this description really does not do its justice. Just imagine. The mass of Jupiter is 318 times as massive as the Earth. Jupiter also is 2.5 times more massive than all other planets in our solar system combined. But here is the interesting thing. If Jupiter got any more massive, it would get smaller. Additional mass would make the planet denser, which would cause it to start pulling it on itself. Astronomers estimate that Jupiter could end up with 4 times its current mass and remain about the same size. Jupiter has been called the vacuum cleaner of the solar system because its gravity sucks in asteroids, comets, and protecting us from those objects as well. But it is not all good though. Jupiter's gravity can also nudge an object onto an orbital collision course with Earth. Let's get into Jupiter's world.
Why no planets between Mars and Jupiter? In the year 1616, Johannes Kepler, the German mathematician/astronomer, predicted that there should be a yet unobserved planet orbiting the Sun between Mars and Jupiter. His assessment was 4 years before pilgrims set sail for America, where Kepler has understood the orbits of the planets better than anyone else alive on Earth. And remember, Galileo Galilei and Isaac Newton were alive then. In fact, Kepler and Galileo were exchanging letters, sharing their amazingly revolutionary newfound knowledge about the planets and stars. The gap between Mars and Jupiter was just way too big compared to any of the other planetary intervals. The average distance between Mars and Jupiter is 3.68 AU. That's approximately 550 million kilometers or 342 million miles. So, for centuries, astronomers scoured the sky looking for Kepler's predicted solar satellite. Around about 1848, telescopes had gotten good enough that people began to find relatively small planetoids in the Mars/Jupiter interval. To date, 1.9 million asteroids larger than 1.6 kilometers in diameter have been observed, plotted, and documented. 2 possible scenarios have emerged to account for the formation of the asteroid belt. Number 1, a planet had formed there, a rocky planet like Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, that was ripped apart by venturing too far into the powerful gravitational sinkhole of Jupiter. Number 2, Jupiter's gravitational power prevented an orbiting field of cosmic debris to amalgamate into a planet. In any case, kudos to the unparalleled genius of Johannes Kepler. Now let's discuss some interesting facts about Jupiter. The ancient Babylonians were the first to record their sightings of Jupiter. This was around the 7th or 8th century BC. Jupiter is named after the king of the Roman gods. To the Greeks, it represented Zeus, the god of thunder. The Mesopotamians saw Jupiter as the god Marduk and patron of the city of Babylon. Germanic tribes saw this planet as Donar, or Thor, the Marvel hero. Jupiter has the shortest day of all the planets. It turns on its axis once every 9 hours and 55 minutes. The rapid rotation flattens the planet slightly, giving it an oblate shape. Jupiter orbits the Sun once every 11.8 Earth years. From our point of view on Earth, it appears to move slowly in the sky, taking months to move from one constellation to another. Jupiter has unique cloud features. That's right, all those beautiful whirling clouds and storms you see on Jupiter are only about 50 kilometers thick. They're made of ammonia crystals broken up into two different cloud decks. The darker material is thought to be compounds brought up from deeper inside Jupiter and then change color when they reacted with sunlight. But below those clouds, it's just hydrogen and helium all the way down. Hydrogen 90% and helium 10%, in roughly the same proportions found in the Sun. It also contains much smaller amounts of other gases such as ammonia, methane, and water. The Great Red Spot was first identified in the year 1665 by Italian astronomer Giovanni Cassini. By the 20th century, astronomers began to theorize that it was a storm, one which was created by Jupiter's turbulent and fast-moving atmosphere. These theories were confirmed by the Voyager 1 mission, which observed the giant red spot up close in March of 1979 during its flyby of the planet. This famous red spot is located south of its equator. It measures about 24,000 kilometers in diameter and 12 to 14,000 kilometers in height. It is large enough to contain 2 or 3 planets the size of Earth's diameter. And the spot has been around for at least 350 years, since it was spotted as far back as the 17th century. However, it appears to have been shrinking since the 17th century based on Cassini's observations. Astronomers do not know if or when it will disappear entirely, but they are relatively sure that another one will emerge somewhere else on the planet. Jupiter's interior is made of rock, metal, and hydrogen compounds. Below Jupiter's massive atmosphere, which is primarily made of hydrogen, there are layers of compressed hydrogen gas, liquid metallic hydrogen, and a core of ice, rock, and metals. As of today, there are 79 confirmed and named satellites, or moons. However, it is estimated that the planet has over 200 natural satellites orbiting it. Almost all of them are less than 10 kilometers in diameter and were only discovered after 1975 when the first spacecraft, Pioneer 10, arrived at Jupiter. However, Jupiter has 4 major moons, which are collectively known as the Galilean moons, after their discovery by Galileo Galilei. These are, in order of distance from Jupiter, Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. These moons are some of the largest in the solar system, with Ganymede being the largest, measuring 5,262 kilometers in diameter, making it larger than even the planet Mercury. Jupiter has the strongest magnetic field in the solar system, at least 14 times stronger than Earth's. Astronomers think that the magnetic field is generated by swirling movements of conducting materials within the liquid metallic hydrogen core. This magnetic field traps particles of sulfur dioxide from Io's volcanic eruptions, which produce sulfur and oxygen ions. Together with hydrogen ions originating from the atmosphere of Jupiter, these form a plasma sheet in Jupiter's equatorial plane. The solar wind's interaction of the magnetosphere generate a bow shock, a dangerous belt of radiation that can cause damage to spacecrafts. Jupiter's 4 largest moons all orbit within the magnetosphere, which protect them from the solar winds, but also make the likelihood of establishing outposts on their surface more and more problematic. 8 spacecrafts have visited Jupiter. Flyby missions. The first to reach Jupiter was Pioneer 10 in 1972, and then in 1973, Pioneer 11 flew by the giant. The Voyagers 1 and 2 flew by Jupiter in 1977, and both have now left our solar system. We have a video on that on our channel if you're interested. In 1990, Ulysses mission reached Jupiter, the solar wind, and the interplanetary magnetic field. In 1997, Cassini flyby before heading to Saturn orbital mission and New Horizons was also a flyby path it took before heading to Pluto. Galileo was the first orbital mission which spanned almost a decade in Jovian atmosphere, providing tremendous science. The Juno mission reached in 2016, and its primary goal is to reveal the story of Jupiter's formation and evolution. This project is extended until late 2025. There are also future flybys and drill projects to study potential life in Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto, Jovian moon's subsurface oceans.
In the night sky, Jupiter is the third brightest object in our solar system. Moon and Venus are the other two. Chances are many of you would have seen Jupiter in the sky and had no idea that's what you were seeing. If you see a bright star high in the sky, then you are looking at Venus or Jupiter or Mars or even Saturn. However, get your hands on a pair of binoculars, and if you know someone who with telescope, that's even better. Using even a modest magnification, you might even spot small specks of light orbiting Jupiter, which are the Galilean moons. Just think, you will be seeing precisely what Galileo did when he gazed at the planet in 1610. Some astronomers call Jupiter a failed star, but that's not really an appropriate description. While it is true that, like a star, Jupiter is rich in hydrogen and helium, Jupiter does not have nearly enough mass to trigger a fusion reaction in its core. This is how a star generates its energy, by fusing hydrogen atoms together under extreme heat and pressure to create helium, releasing light and heat in the process, which helps us. Honestly, for Jupiter to ignite a nuclear fusion process and become a star, it would need more than 70 times its current mass. It's like this: if you could crash dozens of Jupiter together at one time, you might have a chance to make a new star. But in the meantime, Jupiter shall remain the largest gas giant ball in our solar system. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share this video and spread science, because it always reveals truth. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.